Cricbuzz Chatter at the end of day one. DK and me, we both watched the same game at times. From an India point of view, we wished we hadn't. But there you are, 327 after India won the toss and put them in. It must hurt.
100% it was. I think when they won the toss, they expected 3 wickets to fall in the first session. Ideally, that's what you would want. But things didn't pan out that way. But some high quality batting from Head and Smith.
Yeah, but even I thought 3 wickets in the first session. But the third wicket fell 7 balls into the second session. So it was almost like they had got the 3 wickets in the first session. But thereafter, Head batted beautifully, Smith batted the way he can. And I just wonder whether it was just great batting, whether the conditions eased out, and whether India didn't have the firepower to keep going.
I think the conditions eased out towards the second half of the day, which basically means 1 hour after lunch. Even up to then, there was a bit happening. The ball that Labuschagne got out was a really good ball.
Yes,
by Mohammad Shami. So when you can produce such balls, it tells you the wicket still has some spice in it. What did happen was Travis Head took them on like he's been doing throughout this World Test Championship cycle, batting at a strike rate of 81, which is the highest in the world for any batter, and that's what sets him apart from other batters. Interesting, Rishabh Pant follows at second spot, but he isn't part of this game. But Travis Head showed why he is so good, why he is so highly rated, and why he is growing as a test batter, and he's going to achieve some special things. Where the Indian attack, toothless or spineless, I think that's a hard call. We've got to understand they haven't played test cricket for some time. They're coming at the back of an IPL, some tired legs right at the end of it. But that's bound to happen when you just have 3 wickets fallen, not many things going your way. But what was alarming about that partnership was the fact that there was hardly a chance. No, not many LBW appeals, no dropped catches, which tells you that the bowlers haven't created opportunities. That is something that they would be worried about.
It's human tendency to say what if. What if never works. But it's human tendency to say what if. In those first 25-30 minutes, let's all agree it looked a good decision to put them in. I still think a champion like Jasprit Bumrah there, so that Shami or Siraj, one of them, is coming behind the new ball. It eased off a little. Umesh Yadav didn't have the best day in the first spell. It eased off a little over there. But there is no Bumrah, there is no Rishabh Pant, and there was no Ashwin. Now, a lot of the narrative has centered around the feeling that if Ashwin was there, there would have been 180 all out. Now, that would not have happened. But were you also taken aback by how quickly the pitch eased out and became good for batting?
Yes, a tad bit surprised. Though in the pitch report,
you said dry, no?
Yes.
You said dry.
I said down there it is dry. The pitch will quicken up, but you could see it was dry underneath. It had cracks. It was masked by the amount of grass that was there, but they kept cutting it through the last 2 days. It was a little smaller. But India is in a place where it's a very hard decision. It's a bit of a catch-22 situation. If you had to play Ashwin, you would have to drop a fast bowler.
Shardul maybe, and I thought he bowled all right.
Yeah, so who are you going to drop? So those were the questions. Hindsight is beautiful. It's very easy. Even though I think Ashwin personally would know, on day one he wouldn't have had a massive effect. But with the way Jadeja bowled and the odd ball he got to turn and the amount of opportunities he created, there was a bat pad that just fell short of short leg. You got the feeling that there's a little more for the spinners than what we all thought at the start.
And that will go on, but in the situation that Australia are in with 327 for 3, you've got to pull the game back very, very quickly. Let's talk about that first period. For those first 20 minutes, 25, actually the first hour, why am I saying 20? First hour, I thought Shami and Siraj bowled beautifully.
They bowled 6 apiece and both of them bowled really well. The lengths were good. They really troubled the batters. And interestingly, the pitch at times bounced erratically. And we all thought, is that going to be the case in point through the day? Did you feel that too, Harsha?
2 hitting Labuschagne's gloves.
Yes.
One of them, in fact, he threw his bat away. I was afraid that it might be a little worse. 2 didn't carry to KS Bharat.
Correct.
And 1 just kept low. Even towards the end, 1 from Shardul. Maybe he had taken some pace off. But in that first hour, and then Ravi said afterwards that he saw divots had formed on the pitch early on. Would that suggest it was a little damp maybe, or...
So when you have a live covering of grass of that nature, superficial, and the top layer is with grass, as soon as there's a bit of play, divots / indentations are bound to form. Because every time the ball hits the same, it will make a mark and it goes through. And with the And as the game progresses, you'll see a lot more of it. And at times that causes irregular bounce, so to say. So that is bound to happen most of the occasions when you have a lot of grass.
What I loved about today's play was I've heard SMG, I've heard Sunil Gavaskar say so many times in classical test match batsmanship, drop your ego, concede the first hour, but take the next five. And today, if you see it panned out exactly like that, if you see the run rates in the first session, the second session, and the third session kept going up. First hour, what, only 29 runs? 29 for one could easily have been 29 for three another day. So they conceded the first hour, accepted, didn't try and do anything stupid, and took the next five. It's a manner of thinking that we don't see too much with our affection for white ball cricket. You concede the first hour, you've got 20 minutes left in the game. You're not conceding anything. But there's a lot of you have been saying on social media as well, should you have batted first? India batted first in Johannesburg. One of India's great test wins came here at Leeds. India batted first. What is interesting is that almost everybody came to the same conclusion. Even within our commentary box, everyone was saying, no, bowl first. Pat Cummins said at the toss, I would have bowled first too. So it was a bowl first day, in your opinion.
Absolutely. And I do think we would realize what would have happened if Australia bowled first when India comes out to bat. It would be still better conditions, but I still think with the attack that they have, taller bowlers, hit the deck kind of bowlers, there will be a lot of balls that will trouble the Indian batters.
Okay, that was day one. It's time to go into the hotspot. And in the hotspot with DK, could Rohit Sharma have done anything different with his bowlers?
When you have a day like this, you always tend to think, could the captain have done anything different? What has he done? Let's look back at it. He gave 6 over spells to most of his fast bowlers, kept rotating them consistently. Pretty much the 90 overs is dispersed between all the 5 bowlers, didn't try any part-timer as well. So you get the feeling that he's rotated the bowlers through and through. He made Shami bowl from the pavilion end. He started with Siraj in the pavilion end, make them bowl from the other end as well. So he pretty much tried everything he could. But at a point, especially halfway into the day, you got the feeling that the Australians' batting skill was far superior than what Indians could throw at them as bowlers.
Rohit came back after lunch with his lead pair again.
Yes.
And Shami picked up the wicket, so he did that right. How much of slightly insipid nature, the tired nature of the bowling could go back to what has happened in the last 2 months? Now, a lot of you might say, why should we play the IPL? That's not a question that needs to be answered. That's there. That is given. Is there a sunrise? Yes, there is. But how much of it was the fact that they were bowling 2 overs, 3 overs, max spells, not being in the field that long? International players must adjust, but that's easily said. How difficult is it?
It is hard work. In the pre-show, we spoke about what ex-players have been talking about. Is it good to have played some cricket and come fresh as Australia? This is always going to be a big case in point, especially with India, because as soon as we finish the IPL, we always followed up with another series, and it's always going to be a little difficult immediately to adapt to those conditions. Make no mistake, a lot of the Indian players, especially the teams that didn't make it to the playoffs, the players came on 23rd. That is literally 10 days or 2 weeks before.
That's a luxury.
That's a luxury. It's only a very few set of players who have come post the finals, which is much later. But a lot of them have come. They've had their time. They've practiced in Arundel. They've had some scenario practice, some net practice. What they haven't had is test match practice. And that's a different ball game altogether. When you are running, when it's been 80 overs and you're bowling that 81st over and the new ball is given by the captain, what sort of effort are you going to put in? And they did very well, to be fair to them, especially Shami and Siraj. Shardul backed it up very well, and like you rightly said, Umesh in the first spell wasn't great, but I thought he bowled pretty steady after that. But what they would be disappointed with, and I repeat that, is the fact that they weren't able to create opportunities, and that is a worrying sign.
I thought it changed the game, sort of tempo changed with those couple of shots off the back foot that Travis had hit for 4. Then through the onside, suddenly it became an easier game. But that is what it is now. It's 327 for 3. Travis Head has batted magnificently. He's, as DK said, almost 100 strike rate. Steve Smith has said, young man, you do what you want. I am not moving from here. I am here. I'm settled in. I'm going to bat. And really, apart from the odd ball that took the edge, nothing happened. You look back and say, what did Steven Smith do? Did he play some great shots? Yeah, he came down the wicket once to Jadeja, hit him over. I thought some of the shots to the onside. But that is what you expect from Steve Smith. He didn't do anything out of the ordinary. He just said, I am here. And that is what Test match cricket is. Now, what next? It's time to go fast forward. New ball is what, 5-6 overs old.
Yes,
It's a Duke red ball, keeps it shine. It's virtually new.
true.
It needs to be the key factor very, very quickly tomorrow morning.
If India needs to come back in this game, make no mistake about it, their only chance is they can pick up 3 early wickets in the first session. If they don't do that, then we're way behind the 8 ball and it'll be very hard. And then immediately we will start looking at draw as a win in a matter of time. Because if they don't get, then we're talking about Australia batting deep. They do have a long batting lineup. If you don't get them before 400, 420, it's going to be real
That's-
hard work
yeah.
to come back in the game.
That's a number I thought as well, 400, 420. That's only 100 runs away. Now, that new ball, they bowled well early on. Tired legs, can they recover quickly? I mean, those are younger legs than mine. You're still quite young. But put the ice bath, do the massage. Can you come back feeling fresh as a daisy tomorrow morning and really zip in with that new ball?
At the start, they will. It'll be for the first 3, 4, 5 overs. But if they don't get a wicket in that, that's when the body tells you you're tired. More so the mind, which tells you, you know what, it's going to be another long, hard day. So is it another day where we need to put in the hard yards? The mind will pull you a lot of the time saying, oh no, I'm not ready to go. But then you have to put that spell in. So it's going to be a matter of trying to get 1 wicket and then the adrenaline kicks in and you feel differently. You run in differently. But if you don't get that first wicket, it's going to be real hard work.
Absolutely. Come out firing tomorrow morning. That is the key. But at the moment, the game is in Australia's pocket. We've got to creep up and pull it out of the back pocket. For that, the new ball has to come in handy. The forecast of the next 2 days is absolutely good. Temperatures like they were today. Look at them. What did you say yesterday? It is colder than in a fridge. But it was cold.
Harsha, now
Normal.
that we speak about it, Harsha,
Yeah.
we knew what the weather was going to be like. It's going to get sunnier. But when Rohit won the toss, it looked gloomy. It looked great bowling conditions. It was cold.
It was cold.
When we left in the morning, it was 11 degrees. It became 14 by the time the game started. But
I was
when the
doing
sun
that
comes out, it's
pre-show.
a different game, isn't it?
I was doing that pre-show, and that's why I showed the thermals. I'm wearing inside, wearing jacket on top. It's going to be little warmer as it goes along. Very hot day 4, day 5, but very hot meaning 25, 27, not like Chennai, Hyderabad, Bombay weather. But there is some rain day 4, day 5. But don't worry, the rules very clearly say that if you cannot make up all the time lost in spite of adding on time at the end of day 5, then you go to day 6. You don't go to day 6 for a result. You only go to day 6 to make up time. Why are we looking that far ahead? We'll be back with you tomorrow night on that Cricbuzz Chatter.